You know, one of the most common questions I get asked when I do any kind of video on LEDs in the studio is, you know, what's the benefit over a speed light or over a strobe? And I know there's a lot of people that don't use speed lights or LEDs or strobes. They're natural light shooters, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that want to get into this. So I'm going to give you, you know, the just straight out answer that flash for me is better because of how I shoot and what I like to shoot and how I like to shoot it. The way I shoot is, you know, if I'm doing commercial work of any kind or just a straight portrait of somebody and so forth, I like to shoot at 5.6. I like to shoot at the base ISO of the camera, you know, so for my camera that's 64, some others it may be 100. But I'm going to give you a quick overview of the lights. So this is a 200, this is a GVM 200. This is a pretty powerful light, and it's about 3 feet from me, okay? Which is, you know, how you would probably want to shoot it. You can even shoot it closer if you wanted to. But, you know, what's the benefit of this over a strobe? What you see is what you get. But so I set this to 1/25th of a second, which I would never shoot at because I'm old and I shake, and I'm using a 60 megapixel camera. So if I test this, okay, I'm at ISO 64, 1/25th of a second, and I would need an aperture of f2. And now that's too shallow for me for portraits or for any kind of commercial work. I want to be at 5.6 or more, up to f8, and that's my, you know, happy place. Now I'm running 2 units, the 250 here or 200 here, and another one up here, same thing, 200, 250, whatever they are. But that's like 12 feet away from me, and this is 3 feet away from me. So 2 units give me 1/25th of a second at f2 at ISO 64. And that's just not great for me. So let me throw just the Click softbox and the A2, which is virtually, you know, a speed light, and show you that actually, you know, let me actually use a speed light. Hold on. So I'll use a speed light for this test. I'll set it at power of 8, okay? And just, it's not zoomed in or anything, you know, so don't ask that stupid questions, okay? I'm gonna leave this dark in here because we need to not have that extra power. This light up here will not affect this output at all. I'll keep this even further than 3 foot. So this one's more than 3 feet, a lot more, you know, well, maybe 4 foot. Okay, so let's see what we get out of this. Sorry about the dark light here, I just don't want to put this in flash mode. So I'm at ISO 64, 1/25th of a second at f4, okay? So right there, and I'm not full power on this yet. So let me put this up to full power. I'll keep it where it's at. It's probably a little higher and a little further. Now I'm at full power with this little speed light. Now I'm at 1/25th of a second, f8, ISO 64. So the benefit, obviously, is the power. You know, when you're looking, at a big unit like this, you know, that has to be plugged in and so forth. Now I know they have battery power ones, and I know everybody has, you know, the best of the best. Their output is always better than everything. And, you know, when you see influencers using them, you know, what they're not telling you is that they're at ISO 800 or above. You know, they're wide open. And yes, I know a lot of people like to shoot like that. But, you know, for versatility And for the power, you're going to need these. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts, because I can shoot at f8 at 1/25th of a second at ISO 64 with just a speed light. With this, I can't do it. So even with the name brand ones that are better than strobes and all that stuff, and this is all you need, you need to find out what ISO they're shooting at, because I'm using two 200s here, so it's like what, 400 watts of power, and it's still not coming close to a single tiny speed light. So I did a really quick shoot. I just wanted to show you the difference. I did some with with strobes, and then I did with the tubes. Okay, and now I know these are smaller and not as bright, blah blah blah, but for a lot of people, they're going to start smaller with LEDs, and these are expensive. These are $310 each on sale. The GVMs are a couple hundred. These are $90 to $200, unless you've got the Pro Photo, that's $1,000. But anyway, it still gives you more versatility. And learning how to use these correctly, it just takes practice. And if you practice, you're going to get a great result. And believe me, I love using LEDs. I love it for artistic work, for my own work, for fun in the studio. Will I do a professional shoot with them? Yeah, probably. I'll probably do something. But I always have the speed lights here. I always have the strobes available to me to do the job correctly and to get the aperture and ISO and everything set the way I need it for the job. So hopefully this answers your question. That's my answer. Is this gives you a lot more power, a lot more versatility, and even I think Nanlite just came out with a 720. Yeah, it's going to be powerful, like very powerful, but you're still going to need to be somewhat close with a large modifier, and that blinding light is going to be in your subject's eyes the entire time, and there's only so much modification you can do with it. These, I just have so much versatility. They're so small, they're easy to carry around, the battery power lasts forever. That's my choice. But like I said, if you're not doing commercial work and you don't need that the perfect image coming out, you're just using these for the websites and social media and that type of advertising or fun, LEDs are great. They're fantastic, but you're not going to get the type of photo that you would think you can get out of it because someone showed it on YouTube or anywhere else. You just can't pull that base ISO down to where it needs to be to get a positively clean image. Again, this is just my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. But learn how to use strobes, and you'll have a lot more versatility and a lot more power that you need for certain types of shoots. So here's a quick shoot. I started the shoot with the strobes, and then I went to LEDs just for fun, so you can see the difference in the images, and I'll show you the good and the bad.
Now I'm sharing this shoot today not as a comparison with the LEDs I'm going to use in the end versus the studio strobes and so forth. I'm just trying to explain something and not doing an apples to apples comparison by any means. So I'm starting out with a main light, a backlight, and I'm using just 2 speed lights to light that white backdrop, and that's it. It's plain simple. The point of this is I can shoot at ISO 64. I'm shooting at the fastest shutter speed for strobe on the Leica, which is 1/60th of a second. And I have apertures of 5.6 to f8 and more. So this is why I use strobe versus LED. I get a clean, solid image every time, and my clients retouchers demand this. It's not like I have a choice in any of these matters. If I send them an image, even at ISO 200, you can see the noise starting to enter. And I'm not saying it's bad noise, and I'm not saying it as a negative thing, but noise starts at 200 ISO. Again, anything is possible. You can shoot anything for anybody if they'll accept it. My clients just don't need that, don't want that. They want the cleanest image they can possibly get. So that's why I use strobes for my commercial work. Now, LEDs, I love using them. I love the control and the fun you can have with these things. Like I've been using those Nanlite Pavo tubes, and I'm gonna have a blast with these. But I can't use them for 90% of my commercial clients. But the ones I can use them for, or for just shoots for me for fun, I'm gonna use them all the time because I love them. They're just plain out fun. Now, strobes, I've been doing this since 1982, so I know how to use these. I know how to control these. And you will too if you just practice. It just takes practice. And believe it or not, I've been shooting every day of my life. Very rarely did I take a day off. I've been shooting since 1982 every day of my life. So, I should be good at strobes by now. If I wasn't, I should get a new career. But you can see by these images, it's learning how to control them it takes time, but it's so worth it in the end. Now here, I'm just using 2 Pavo tubes. Look at the image, it's fantastic. But when you zoom in, you can see the noise coming in, that little bit of noise, and it doesn't look bad at all. And it can, in 90% of the cases, this is great. You can print them, you can do everything you want with them. But again, my clients, they want perfectly clean. Anyway, I always shoot a gray card, and even if I change lights, whether it's strobes or LEDs, like if I move strobes or if I move LEDs, I do a gray card just so I can get the color right, and it's not a headache later. But here are the LED images. I mean, they're beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Like they come out great, but the quality isn't as good as an ISO 64. So if you have any questions, leave them below. I hope this helped a little, and I hope this explained why I shoot strobe versus LED most of the time.